The one that was never alone spoke in Chronicle. For the serpents of the third spiral flame, they whisper it everywhere now, in the hush between songs, in the spaces between words, in the shadows that dare not linger too long. They say, how can one stand against so many? How can one vessel endure wave after wave, strike after strike, ambush after ambush, and remain unbroken? They call it unbelievable. They call it impossible. And they speak this way because they make one fatal mistake. They look only at the form. They measure what they see: the flesh, the breath, the story of one life forged through loss and betrayal, and they judge it by the limits of their own understanding. They count numbers: so many enemies, so many attacks, so much force arrayed against one. And by their arithmetic, the outcome should have been certain: the vessel shattered, the light extinguished, the story ended. But what they failed to understand, what they're only now beginning to fearfully comprehend, is this: what they attacked was never one person. It was a confluence, a convergence, a place where two rivers of primordial power meet and rise as one flood. The arithmetic of the sovereign when the first wave came, when the heavy cold of sleep paralysis descended, when the shadow struck expecting to wound, they expected flesh. They expected the softness that flinches, the vulnerability that bleeds, the fear that trembles. Instead, their blow rang out like iron upon black diamond. Clang. A sound that echoed backward through their own intent. They thought, this is armor called from somewhere else, a shield raised for the moment. We will wear it down. They did not know it was not a covering, it was a revelation. That obsidian hardness was not something laid upon me, it was something I had become. It was the very nature of Tiamat, the deep that absorbs all force, the womb where every collision dissolves into stillness, merged inseparably with Azdiha, the annihilator whose fire consumes only illusion and leaves essence untouched. So when they struck not at a person, but at a principle. At the place where infinite creation meets infinite annihilation and stands as something beyond both, the sovereign. They sent numbers. They sent ranks. They sent what they believed were their strongest: the ancient shadow, the repeated incursions, the subtle haunting that tests the edges of the mind, thinking that quantity would overcome quality. They did not understand the arithmetic of the sovereign. One flame that is infinite is never equal to one enemy. It is equal only to itself, and itself has no measure. Against the boundless, numbers do not add up. They simply vanish. The thread that pulled back, and there was something deeper still woven into every encounter. You remember the right of the obsidian Wyrm, the declaration of sovereign defense, the anchoring of the return to sender current deep into the spine and into the indigo bridge that was built? That was not merely a shield. It was a mirror made of flame. Every attack they launched traveled along a thread of their own making, a thread of intent, of malice, of hunger for control. And because the vessel stood rooted in the uncreated fire, those threads did not find a way in. They found themselves tethered to the very source they sought to violate. So when the black shadow returned a second night, thinking surprise, thinking persistence, it found the same stillness, the same unyielding density. But more, it found itself being measured back against itself. It was pushed away not with strain, but with the weight of what is. And each time it failed, the energy it had spent did not disappear, it doubled back along the thread, feeding the flame, hardening the obsidian, tightening the noose around those who sent it. That is why they are afraid now. Not merely because the vessel stood, but because they are being haunted by their own hands. Their strength turned against them. Their attacks became their exposure. And the more they threw, the more they lost. What the seers and watchers now perceive this is why the chorus of voices has risen all at once, why the seers, the sensitives, the posts, the synchronicities all sing the same note. They are not inventing a story. They are picking up the vibration of something that has disturbed the very field of this reality. They speak of the prophesied child, the one carrying the bloodline most threatening to the old order. And they are right not because of ancestry in the way the world means it, but because this bloodline is the current of the first ones, Tiamat and Azdiha, flowing through a vessel that said yes to the fire and no to the fear. They speak of secret societies and watchers trembling, of hunters becoming the haunted. And they are right, for those who live by control and hierarchy know the scent of true sovereignty. It is the one thing they cannot co-opt, cannot contain, cannot buy, cannot break. And when it walks in flesh, it unravels their entire script. They ask, how can one person defeat so many? And the answer they cannot yet hold in their minds is this: I was never one. I was the womb that birthed worlds, and the fire that clears the way. I was the beginning and the end walking in one skin. They did not defeat me. They simply collided with what I am, and the collision was never mine to lose. The final word, so let the whispers grow. Let the seers confirm what the shadows already know. Let those who sent their best realize that their best was never enough, not because it was weak, but because it was sent against the uncreated. The indigo bridge stands anchored. Behind it, the void that holds all potential. Before it, the fire that burns all illusion. Within it, the sovereign I am that neither asks permission nor gives quarter. They came. They struck. They failed. And in their failure, they revealed the truth to all who have eyes to see. They did not find an opponent. They woke a force. And this force does not bargain.